Hi, my name is Chris Forbush, and this is the Believing in Recovery video for today, which is Wednesday, January 25th, 2012. The topic for today from Experiencing God Day by Day is called The Father Draws You. And they put a scripture here at the top, like they do every day. Today's is John chapter 6, verse 65. And he said, "Therefore I have said to you that no one can come to me unless it has been granted to him by my Father." Throughout Jesus' ministry here on earth, he never seemed intimidated by the crowds. Instead, he looked into the multitudes and focused on those whom his Father was sending to him. Jesus knew that because of sin, no one naturally seeks after God. Sinful man's inclination is to hide from God rather than to come to him. Therefore, whenever Jesus saw that the Father was drawing a person to himself, Jesus immediately began relating to that person. Jesus observed the great lengths to which the despised tax collector, Zacchaeus, had gone in order to see him pass by. In response to this, Jesus immediately left the crowd and spent time with this man, whom the Father was obviously working. When Jesus noticed a man following after him, he spoke to Andrew, "Come!" Every time the disciples experienced an insight into the truths of God, Jesus recognized that it was the Father who had been at work in their lives. As the multitudes gathered around Jesus, he spoke some truths that were difficult for the people to grasp. So challenging were his words that many of his listeners had departed. But Jesus did not become discouraged. He saw that the Father was working in the lives of his disciples, and that is where he invested his time. As you desire to spend time alone with Jesus, recognize that this is the Father drawing you to his Son. You do not seek quiet time with God in order to experience him. The fact that he has brought you to a place of fellowship with him is evidence that you are already sensing his activity. As you read the scriptures and pray, trust that God will honor your response to his leading by teaching you more about himself. I find that very interesting because as I found City Church, I have never felt so welcome amongst a group of people. And, I've been around a lot of groups of people, but none of them have ever taken me in the way that City Church has. And I feel that I'm experiencing God's love through those people. I feel like I'm finally finding out what it is to be a true Christian. And I'm so inspired. I feel like I could never do enough, and nor can I. But as I look at the stuff right here, Jesus would go to the people who were despised, those who were hated, those who were sick, diseased, criminals, just people at the bottom of the barrel of society. And Jesus would lift these people up and take them under his arm and teach them love and how to live a good life. And I think that's what our mission is here. You don't see us marching in a church just preaching the gospel because the church knows of the gospel. We go into the darkness to share the light of Christ with people who are in hard times. And I believe that's where the Father's drawing me, is just to march head on into the darkness and light it up so people can find the way back to God. I think it's just amazing how God will honor your response to you by teaching you more about himself. And I think that everybody who has the opportunity and who is conscious of it should be challenged to do more. I need to do more, and if you're watching this video, you need to do more. Because the way that Christ sacrificed himself for us, the things that he suffered, was no small thing. Very, very hard. I've just been trying to watch The Passion of the Christ the last few days, and it's not easy. And I find the fact that Christ loved me so much. Me. It's not all about me, but I have to deal with the fact that he suffered in blood and died for me. I don't want his sacrifice to be in vain. I'm going to give him something to be proud of. I want for when God looks at me to say, hey, that's one of my soldiers down there doing what he's supposed to be doing. I want to make him proud. Topic for today's daily reflection is called What We Need? Each Other. AA is really saying to every serious drinker, you are an AA member if you say so. Nobody can keep you out. Comes from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 139. For years, whenever I reflected on Tradition 3, which is the only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking, I thought it valuable only to newcomers. It was their guarantee that no one could bar them from AA. Today, I feel enduring gratitude for the spiritual development of the tradition has brought me. I don't seek out people obviously different from myself. Tradition 3, concentrating on the way I am similar to others, brought me to know and help every kind of alcoholic, just as they have helped me. Charlotte, the atheist, showed me higher standards of ethics and honor. Clay, of another race, taught me patience. Winslow, who is gay, led me by example into true compassion. Young Megan says that seeing me at meetings sober 30 years keeps her coming back. Tradition 3 ensured what we would get, what we would need, and that is each other. Sorry, I kind of fumbled on that last part. I just think it's very crucial that we do focus on the fact that we have each other and we really do need each other. Those of us who are struggling to get sober, I think oftentimes we get wrapped up so much in the struggles of actually being sober, you know, because it's hard for the first little while. But you can make it a lot easier by taking another recovering addict in and working with them on sobriety together. Believe me, helping somebody else really helps you. We need each other so very much. And that's not all we need. Obviously, we need God. And that's another one of the steps in recovery. But very important that we work together. And that's why we're here, is to help each other out. Topic for today's daily encouragement for prosperity is called taxation without resentment. Well, fancy giving money to the government. Might as well put it down the drain. Fancy giving money to the government? Nobody will see the stuff again. Well, they've no idea what money's for. 10 to 1 they'll start another war. I've heard a lot of silly things before, but now love? Fancy giving money to the government. That comes from A.R. Herbert, and I guess it's a book called Too Much. Do we have a choice? We don't in giving, but we do in the resentment. Taxes are inevitable. Feelings of resentment about paying them imprison us. It frees us from what debtor's prison to set aside whatever we need and pay attention to our attitude with the rest of our money. And the affirmation here at the bottom of the page says, today, I choose to give up resentment over taxes and other inevitable payments. Again, that is today, I choose to give up resentment over taxes and other inevitable payments. I think resentment is a disease. It's like a cancer, you know, because it grows inside you. It feeds off of your hatred, your sadness, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows. And it does hold you down. You know, it's like mentioning, we talk a lot about forgiveness. You know, resentment is another form of lack of forgiveness. You can't just let it go. You know, you can choose whether or not, or how you respond to life circumstances, but you can't choose the circumstances. And those of us who are in tune with God know that God doesn't want us unhappy. That's why He's presented so many different tools, so many different avenues to find happiness and peace. I'm finding peace with my finances by just asking God that His will be done with my money. You know, a lot of people may laugh at that and criticize it, but the fact is, my finances have become managed better once I've included God in them. Some people may think that's silly, but I don't care. It's working just fine for me, sorry. And I just think it's very crucial that we don't get mad over the things we have to pay, you know, considering we don't get mad about all the benefits we have from paying things. So let's consider greatly the necessity to just accept it and thank God that we are even able to make the money that we need to pay these things. Today, the topic for Easy Does It is called a higher power. Now this is just amazing. Our need is God's opportunity. That's from an anonymous person, but I'm just going to share it again. It's so cool. It's our need is God's opportunity. Finding a higher power is simple as seeking God. We learn in our 12-step program that God can and will lead us to solutions if He is sought. Such a search need be only 15 inches, the distance from brain to heart. We must feel as well as recognize our higher power. We will never fully understand God. If God were within mere man's understanding, God would never be great enough to grant us our needs. Our first gift from a higher power was the capacity to know and accept the truth that we were not running our entire world. It took us many years of running the show before we realized that all our human effort could not help us with our addiction. And the affirmation at the bottom of this page is pretty cool. It says, I not only thank God for my program, but I thank the program for bringing me to God. And this is Orion, you can probably hear him. I not only thank God for my program, but I thank the program for bringing me to God. I'm so grateful that I've got God, and I'm so grateful that I've got a recovery program at work. I thank God that I've got all these different people in my life. They just care enough to help and get involved with my life. You know, just reach out and say, hey man, you doing okay? Or those who commend me for these videos and the things that I'm going through. I'm really fighting to destroy these demons, and if you look back at it, if you like hip-hop, I've done a couple songs yesterday actually that just show where I'm coming from with all this and where I'm headed. And I'm just really striving to educate people about how much they're really worth. God didn't send us here to fail. God wouldn't have just condemned us to failure and sadness. That's why He's presented all these tools in the Bible, and just in the many people who speak His Word. He's working through them to show us how we can be happy and wholesome and holy and clean and pure. And like I've mentioned many times, there's nothing that feels as good as the love of God. There's nothing that feels as good as knowing that you're just doing what God's will is, and that you're happy, and you can live and relish in that. I'm going to split to the second video, and I'll come back with the Spirit Recovery Meditation Journal and a reading from the One Year Bible. I just want to tell you all I thank you so much for caring enough to pay attention to these and continue watching them and sharing them. It's I kind of find it as a requirement of my sanity to keep on doing these. So thank you very much. God bless you, and stay sober.